GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Tonight we'll discuss the coroner's call to expand swimming lessons as drownings rise, a nighttime gunfire incident in Rivière des Prairies in St. Mitchell, and a quick traffic update on the highway accident. We'll also preview the Avenged Sevenfold and Good Charlotte tour hitting Sonic later this week. Over to you, Emma.
The Avenged Sevenfold and Good Charlotte North American Tour 2026 will stop at Isle Sonic this Saturday, featuring a special Under Pressure performance.
Tickets for the Isle Sonic show were released last week, with general admission starting at $45 and limited VIP packages selling out within hours.
The concert lineup includes Avenged Sevenfold's hit Hail to the King, Good Charlotte's The Young and the Hopeless, and a collaborative cover of Queen's classic.
Lots to get to, let's begin, and soon we'll dive into the stories shaping our city tonight, with insight, community voices, and the events that matter to Montrealians everywhere. Here are our top stories. Quebec's chief coroner is urging Montreal to broaden swimming lesson access after 51 drownings this year, up from 46 last year, highlighting a critical gap in water safety. Remy Gaudreau has the full story.
Since the start of 2026, Quebec has recorded 51 drownings, up from 46 the previous year. In 2025, 2 separate deaths, a mother and her infant, were also linked to an inability to swim. The coroner noted most victims could not swim, and a recent tragedy in a residential pool underscored the shortage of lessons. Current class capacity in Montreal cannot keep up with demand, leaving many families without access to instruction. The coroner is urging city officials to expand public swimming programs and open more slots for beginner courses. The recommendation comes as part of a broader push to curb water-related fatalities across the province. The goal is to give more residents, especially children, a chance to learn water safety before summer months arrive. Remy Gaudreau, GMNA News, Montreal.
Today the Parti Québécois confirmed that Pierre-Luc Brillant will again run as its candidate in the Rosemont riding. Brillant, a former municipal councillor, previously placed third in the 2022 provincial election, trailing the Quebec Solidaire and Coalition Avenir Quebec contenders. Party officials said his renewed campaign will focus on sovereignty, affordable housing, and protecting public services. The nomination comes as the PQ seeks to rebuild its presence in the East End borough after losing ground to both the progressive left and the center-right. Brillant's team has already begun door-to-door outreach across the neighborhood, targeting both longtime supporters and new voters disillusioned with the current government. Election Day is slated for 31 October, and the party hopes the renewed message will resonate in a riding that has traditionally favored progressive platforms.
Police responded to reports of gunfire late last night in the Rivière des Prairies and St. Mitchell neighborhoods. The SPVM said officers arrived at both sites shortly after midnight GMT but have made no arrests. The incidents are the latest in a series of nighttime shootings that have troubled the city's northern districts in recent weeks. Units from the Major Crimes Division have canvassed the streets and are reviewing surveillance footage from nearby businesses. The SPVM has asked anyone who heard the shots or saw suspicious activity to contact its tip line. City officials note that the recent spate of gunfire has intensified calls for a coordinated response to curb violence in the island's northern sectors. No injuries have been reported, and police continue to gather evidence to identify those responsible. Investigators say the cases remain open as they pursue leads.
St. Pie Council voted to place a land reserve on the 57-year-old Sanair racetrack, opening the possibility of a new high school on the site. Remy Gaudreau has the full story.
Council members in St. Pie voted this afternoon to set aside a parcel of the historic Sanair racetrack as a land reserve, clearing the way for a possible new high school on the site. The facility, which has been a fixture for 57 years, will now be surveyed for suitability as an educational campus. Officials said the move aims to address growing enrollment pressures in the area, offering a centrally located option for families. The reserve designation means the land cannot be sold or developed for other purposes without council approval, preserving it for the school project if it moves forward. The decision came after weeks of community consultations and a review of alternative locations. The council will revisit the proposal next year to decide on funding and construction timelines. Ramai Godro, GMNA News, St. Pi.
Yesterday, American biotech firms started a large-scale release of sterile tiger mosquitoes across the city, a move aimed at curbing the invasive species that spreads dengue, chikungunya, and Zika. The species arrived in the province a decade ago and has colonized parks, backyards, and waterfronts, prompting vector control agencies to seek new tools. Officials say the operation will introduce hundreds of thousands of modified insects into neighborhoods where the biting mosquito has become entrenched. Etienne Normandin of the Institut de Recherche en Biologie Végétale at the Université de Montreal confirmed the partnership with the U.S. companies and explained that sterile males will mate with wild females, preventing next generation from surviving. Health authorities have warned that the Asian tiger mosquito, now widespread across North America, carries viruses that can cause severe illness. City's health team will monitor mosquito counts and disease reports over the coming weeks to gauge the program's impact. Later we'll break down the silver alert that led police to an 80-year-old missing senior in Cowansville, plus more. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Police ended the province's silver alert on Friday after the missing 80-year-old woman from Cowansville was located by Sûreté du Québec officers. The senior, who had been reported missing earlier in the week, was found safe in a residential area near her home, prompting investigators to close the alert. The alert, which remained active for several days, mobilized officers and volunteers across the region, coordinating searches and sharing information through media channels. The Silver Alert system, which mobilizes law enforcement, media, and the public when an older adult disappears, is automatically canceled once the individual is recovered. Sûreté du Québec confirmed the woman was in good health and that no foul play was involved. Authorities thanked community members for their vigilance during the search. The successful resolution underscores the effectiveness of the province's rapid response protocol for vulnerable seniors.
Montreal subway riders reported being sprayed with cayenne pepper during a morning rush hour, prompting SDM officials to launch an investigation into the assault. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
At the St. Laurent station on the Green Line, commuters were suddenly doused with a fine mist of cayenne pepper, causing coughing and tears. Witnesses described a sharp, burning smell as the spray hit the platform around midday. Several riders stumbled, some clutching their eyes, while security personnel rushed to contain the scene. SDM officials arrived within minutes, urging passengers to remain calm and evacuate the area. Medical staff on site treated those with eye irritation, and a few were taken to nearby clinics for further evaluation. Police are reviewing surveillance footage and have asked anyone with information to come forward. The incident has prompted a temporary suspension of service on the affected line while investigators work. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Montreal. Police say a vehicle collided with a stroller in the St. Laurent borough on Thursday evening, leaving a 20-month-old child injured but alive. Responders rushed the toddler to a nearby hospital where doctors confirmed the child is now stable and recovering. Investigators from the Montreal police are reviewing the scene and have not released details about the driver or any charges. The incident occurred on a residential street near the intersection of St. Laurent Boulevard and a side road, according to officials. Neighbors reported hearing a crash and seeing the stroller thrown onto the sidewalk before the ambulance arrived. The community watches as the young patient continues to heal. Family members remain at the hospital awaiting updates on the child's progress. Doctors say the injuries were non-life-threatening and the child is expected to make a full recovery.
Yesterday, just after 7 p.m., 5 police officers in black uniforms, bulletproof vests and weapons arrived in 2 patrol cars at the courtyard of Maisonneuve Primary School in the Hochelaga Maisonneuve neighborhood. They ordered 3 pre-adolescents who were mid-game in a schoolyard soccer match to leave the field. A nearby resident reported the officers forcibly escorted the children off the pitch, demanding they clear the area. Parents gathered nearby, watching as the officers maintained a tight perimeter around the playground. No arrests were made and the children were escorted home by a school staff member. No further detail was released about the reason for the intervention and school officials have not commented. The incident unfolded in the school's open courtyard, a space typically used for recess and after-school activities. Police later departed the scene, leaving the children and onlookers unsettled by the abrupt removal.
Residents of Mercier Hochelaga Maisonneuve are rallying against a city plan to build an apartment complex for former inmates on Notre Dame Street East, with a petition already gathering more than 100 signatures. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
On Notre Dame Street East, a line of residents gathers outside a vacant lot where city officials have drawn up plans for a 3-story apartment building intended for former inmates. The proposal, part of a broader effort to create transitional housing in the East End, has sparked a petition that now carries more than 100 signatures. Neighbors voice concerns about safety and the impact on their community, while city representatives say the development aims to ease re-entry challenges. The group has set up tables, distributing flyers and urging others to add their names to the growing list. Tensions linger as the deadline for the city's review approaches, leaving the future of the project uncertain. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Mercier.
Now let's turn to the weather for a quick look at tonight's conditions.
A stagnant high-pressure ridge and a southwest jet keep tonight's skies clear while lingering heat lingers. On this date, the all-time high for Montreal sits at 30.8 degrees Celsius, set in the summer of 2025 during a prolonged heat wave that pushed daily maxima well above the norm. The record low is 12.7 degrees Celsius, recorded in the bitter early autumn snap of 2015, when a polar front plunged temperatures well below the usual range. By contrast, climatological normals for August 8th hover around 25 degrees high and 16 degrees low, underscoring how today's warmth sits just above average. The live radar now shows a thin band of showers trailing eastward across the South Shore, their echo fading as the storm moves toward the St. Lawrence. The heaviest cells pass the city around 5 p.m., and by 6 p.m. the reflectivity has dropped to near clear. With the jet stream aloft steering moisture northeast, no additional precipitation is expected to redevelop over Montreal tonight. The atmosphere remains dry and stable as we turn to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m. Montreal sits under mostly cloudy skies with a temperature of 24 degrees Celsius and humidity near 73%. Pressure is holding steady, a near-average high that prevents any major frontal intrusion. Overhead, the southwest jet streams at 97 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the gentle southerly breeze that is currently 14 kilometers per hour, but can gust to 24 kilometers per hour, feeling noticeably brisk. The UV index reads 6, indicating moderate solar intensity despite the cloud cover. No weather alerts are in effect. As the night progresses, the cloud layer will thicken, keeping temperatures from dropping below 21 degrees before sunrise. The stable air mass will linger into tomorrow, setting the stage for a warm but dry evening. Sunday opens with clear skies and a high of 28 degrees Celsius, low around 18. Monday brings cloud cover and a 45% chance of rain, with temperatures peaking at 26 and falling to 18 overnight. A weak trough sliding eastward supplies the moisture. Tuesday brightens again, mostly clear and a high of 25, low 19, as the high-pressure ridge returns. Wednesday stays partly cloudy, high 25, low 18, with a slight chance of showers. Thursday shifts west, clearing to a high of 21 and low 15, but a 55% rain probability persists as a cold front approaches from the northwest. The week's temperature swing stays within a 10-degree band, with the main precipitation window on Monday. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, traffic snarls from a highway crash, the Habs top 25 under 25 prospects, and tonight's Avenged Sevenfold concert preview. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Autoroute 15 northbound near exit 71 is gridlocked after a multi-truck collision. One lane is closed and delays reach up to 30 minutes. If you're heading toward the northern suburbs, consider rerouting onto Autoroute 24 or use the southbound lanes of Boulevard St. Laurent as an alternative. The Ville-Marie Tunnel between Robert Bourassa and St. Laurent remains under major work, slowing traffic. Expect stop and go and add a few minutes to your trip. Boulevard Lacordaire over the 40 has minor work. Traffic moves, but a short slowdown is typical this afternoon. Rue Saint-Urbain over Autoroute Ville-Marie faces a major hindrance. Trucks are limited, so a bottleneck is likely at the intersection. Plan an alternate route if you can. A minor fender bender on Rue Saint-Denis near St. Laurent caused no injuries and is cleared, so that corridor is flowing. No transit delays have been reported this afternoon, so the metro and bus network remains on schedule.
Tonight, Centerbell erupts as Avenged Sevenfold shares the stage with Good Charlotte, a must-see rock showdown that promises thunderous riffs and sing-along anthems. It's the perfect night to feel the roar of a stadium crowd. Across town, the Isle Sonic Festival continues at Parc Jean Drapeau, where world-class DJs like Seven Lions and Deadmau 5 keep the summer night pulsing with electronic energy. Dance lovers will lose themselves under the fireworks-lit sky. A short walk away on St. Catherine's Street, Under Pressure turns the streets into a living canvas, blending graffiti battles, hip-hop battles, and spontaneous dance crews for a vibrant street art celebration. The city's creative spirit bursts onto every wall. Looking ahead, tomorrow, the Clock Tower Quay will host Festival Afro Monde, a colorful showcase of African music, cuisine, and culture you won't want to miss. It's a chance to taste the continent without leaving the quay. Expect vibrant rhythms and tasting stalls that transport you across the continent. And now here's Jason with sports.
Montreal's hockey pulse quickens as the Habs chart their next chapter. 5 Canadians poised for a breakout. Young defenseman Lane Hutson is tipped to become the league's premier blue liner, while forward Ivan Demidov anchors one of the NHL's sharpest value deals. The club's wave of max-length contracts mirrors the Panthers and Hurricanes, signaling a long-term roster lock-in. The near-misses list spotlights 9 prospects who earned at least one NHL appearance but fell short of a top 25 slot. With 6 graduates already in the league, the talent pool has thinned, underscoring the need for the Canadians to accelerate development before the next draft. Friday's headlines weave Arbor Xhekad's refugee journey into the Canadians' narrative, while 3 camp surprise candidates could reshape depth charts. Ville Koivunen's hefty 8-year deal looms over Zachary Bolduc's pending talks, and a fresh WHL influx adds intrigue to Montreal's prospect pipeline. The project's tier highlights a blend of 2026 draftees and off-season acquisitions now suited for the Laval Rocket. Though not yet NHL ready, these players possess broader skill sets than long shots, positioning them as the next wave of talent the Canadians must monitor closely. With Kent Hughes eyeing a faster rebuild, the Habs are scouting options like unrestricted free agent Patrick Lane for cost-effective scoring, while Cole Caulfield's 9th-place winger ranking validates his offensive upside. Meanwhile, Noah Dobson joins a growing list of new fathers in the locker room. The long shots ranking reveals how voters push marginal players to the bottom to sharpen the upper tier. This annual shuffle not only reflects recent season performances, but also forces the Canadians to reassess which fringe talents merit a closer look during the upcoming training camp.
Good Food, the Montreal-based meal kit company, has hit a crossroads. After a rapid rise delivering fresh chef-crafted recipes to doorsteps across the province, the business entered creditor protection this week, and its chief executive stepped down after less than 6 months at the helm. The move reflects the tightening margins and supply chain pressures that many local food service firms are feeling, especially as consumers balance convenience with cost. For the neighborhoods that rely on Good Food's weekly deliveries from the Plateau to Verdun, the uncertainty threatens jobs and a homegrown alternative to big-box grocery chains. It matters because Good Food has put a distinctly Montreal flavor on the table, reminding us that our city's culinary spirit thrives when local innovators stay afloat. Stay tuned as we reveal how a tornado struck Repentigny on August 2, and the Metro's plan to run legacy cars by 2031.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Researchers have confirmed a tornado touchdown in Repentigny, Quebec, damaging trees and buildings during Sunday's storm on August 2nd. The weather event prompted local emergency response in the Montreal area. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
On August 2nd, a storm ripped through Repentigny, snapping trees, ripping roof sheeting and leaving debris scattered across residential streets. After the damage assessment, a team of meteorologists and engineers examined radar signatures and on-ground evidence, concluding the event was a tornado that actually touched down in the neighborhood. They noted a narrow vortex that carved a path of uprooted maples and dented siding, confirming wind speeds consistent with a low-end F1 classification. The researchers' report clears up earlier confusion that the damage was just a straight-line wind gust, now attributing it to a brief rotating column of air that moved through the suburb north of Montreal. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Repentigny.
The Société de Transport de Montréal said that beginning in 2030, when the Green Line will run exclusively with older Mr. 73 subway cars, 11 times less reliable than new trains. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
Starting in 2031, the Green Line will run solely with the STM's aging Mr. 73 subway cars. Those trains, which already share the tracks with newer models on other lines, will become the line's only rolling stock. The Mr. 73 fleet is known to be about 11 times less reliable than the modern trains the agency has been adding in recent years. Commuters on the Green Line can expect more frequent breakdowns and longer service interruptions as the older cars take over every service. The change comes as the Transit Authority phases out newer equipment elsewhere, leaving the Green Line with a single, older generation of trains. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Plateau.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's reminder that a toddler survived a car stroller crash in St. Laurent underscores our community's resilience. We appreciate your trust and look forward to bringing you more stories tomorrow. Stay safe, stay curious, and see you then.